Imagine waking up tomorrow in a town where it is strictly illegal to die. A place where, if you become terminally ill or close to the end of your life, the government will legally force you to leave. Welcome to Longyearbyen, located on the Svalbard archipelago, just 800 miles from the North Pole. It is the northernmost town on Earth. Here, the permafrost is so cold that human bodies never decompose. If you were buried here, virus strains from a century ago would remain perfectly preserved in the ice forever. That is why dying here is banned. But the laws get even stranger. It is also illegal to give birth here, because there are no hospitals equipped for it. And whenever you step outside your house, you are legally required to carry a high-powered rifle, not for crime, but for survival against the polar bears that outnumber the humans. Yet, despite the extreme cold, months of total darkness, and the constant threat of predators, over 2,500 highly educated professionals choose to live here. Why would anyone give up the comfort of modern civilization to live under such bizarre, extreme restrictions? Today, we are going inside the town where maps end, and humanity's most extreme social experiment begins. When most people think of a remote Arctic town, they imagine primitive huts. But Longyearbyen defies every stereotype. This is one of the most highly educated and prosperous communities on the planet. You will find carbon fiber research labs, the world's northernmost university center, and an advanced satellite station that downloads data from spacecraft in real time. The people walking these snowy streets are world-class glaciologists, marine biologists, and elite polar guides. But what drives an international elite to leave Paris or London, to move to a place where the sun sets in October and doesn't rise again until February? The answer lies in a strange 100-year-old treaty and a massive financial loophole Under the unique Svalbard Treaty, citizens of over 40 countries can live and work here completely visa-free. More importantly, Svalbard operates under a completely separate tax code. The income tax here is capped at a flat low rate of just 8%. There is also zero VAT and zero customs duties on goods. In an era of heavy taxes back home, this Arctic tax haven offers an unexpected taste of financial freedom. But that freedom comes with a brutal, unyielding catch. In Longyearbyen, the government enforces a strict no-welfare policy. The moment you lose your job or can no longer support yourself, the Norwegian governor will legally deport you from the island. There are no retirement homes and no second chances. You are welcome here only as long as you are productive. To understand the true cost of that 8% tax rate, you have to look at the global map. Longyearbyen is so far north that geography itself becomes a physical barrier. There are no roads connecting this town to the rest of the world. The only way in or out is a 3-hour flight or a supply ship that can only break through the Arctic ice during the fleeting summer months. But the physical distance is nothing compared to the optical isolation. From late October to mid-February, the sun never rises above the horizon. For nearly 4 months, the town enters a state of perpetual total darkness, known as the civil polar night. Imagine noon looking exactly like midnight. In this endless darkness, the human brain stops regulating melatonin properly. Sleep schedules fracture, and a deep, crushing psychological fatigue sets in. Yet, even if you survive the darkness, you are still at the mercy of a fragile supply chain. Because of the permafrost, agriculture is impossible. If a storm grounds flights, supermarket shelves instantly empty. In any ordinary city, a power outage is an inconvenience. In Longyearbyen, a power outage is a mass casualty event. Look closely at the streets here. You won't see underground water pipes because of the permanent ice underneath. Digging into the soil is impossible. Instead, the entire town is kept alive by a massive network of insulated, heated pipes running above the ground. They pump superheated water constantly from the central power station directly into every kitchen. Against all odds, people raise families here. Longyearbyen is home to the world's northernmost school. But growing up at the edge of the world requires a different kind of childhood. On their way to class in the winter darkness, these kids must wear high-visibility vests and headlamps. Recess is spent on fields of packed snow under the aurora. This brings us to the dark reality of the town's unique legal system. What happens if you suffer a stroke or a severe injury? The local hospital is legally and logistically designed only for stabilization. If your condition requires complex surgery, your survival depends entirely on an air ambulance to the mainland. But if an Arctic blizzard sets in, those aircraft cannot take off. In Longyearbyen, isolation breeds a radical form of trust. There is an unwritten law here. No one locks their front doors, and no one locks their cars. If a polar bear suddenly appears on the street, an unlocked car or home is the difference between life and death for a stranger. But this tightly knit social experiment is currently facing an existential threat. The Arctic is warming nearly 4 times faster than the global average. In Longyearbyen, the permafrost that historically held the town together is softening. Colorful wooden houses, built on wooden piles driven deep into the frozen earth, are starting to shift and tilt. Worse, the destabilized mountains have triggered deadly avalanches. Portions of the town have had to be permanently abandoned. For the older generation, Svalbard was a badge of honor. But for the teenagers growing up here today, the internet has changed everything. Through the screens of their smartphones, the youth watch the vibrant lives of their peers in Tokyo or Paris. The romance of the dark Arctic often fades by age 18. The vast majority of young people choose to leave for the mainland. Svalbard is a town of perpetual transit. People arrive with big dreams, stay for an average of 7 years, and leave when life gets too heavy. It raises a haunting question. Can a society truly have a soul if it has no history, no ancestors buried in its soil, and no children who wish to stay? As the ice continues to recede, what can we learn from this high-tech outcropping at the end of the map? The modern world tells us that progress means comfort. We build massive cities to insulate ourselves, create heavy tax welfare systems to guarantee our safety. But in our pursuit of comfort, we often lose something vital: our reliance on one another and our connection to the raw, untamed reality of existence. Longyearbyen proves that even at the sub-zero boundary, humans can build a society based on mutual trust. When the temporary residents of Svalbard finally pack their bags, they carry something that money cannot buy. They remember the true value of a neighbor. They remember the fragile beauty of a single vegetable. And they remember what it feels like to look into the dark and know exactly who they are. Because sometimes the most extraordinary stories aren't found in the center of the world. They're found at its edges. Where maps end, stories begin. Because at the edge of the world, humanity reveals who we truly are. Thank you for watching Edge of Earth. See you in the next corner of the world.